Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. We got a good episode. Today is Friday, September 20th, 2013. And before we get on to all the goodness of today's show, we're going to go ahead and just going to give you my plugs. Twitter, make sure you follow me at short_sports 24-7. Also on Facebook, The Short Sports Show, and on YouTube, The Short Sports Show. So if you miss any episodes today, make sure you go on YouTube. Just type in The Short Sports Show. Give it a like. Subscribe to the channel. Even if you already seen the episode, go ahead and just listen to it again, I guess. But this week has been a wild week, especially in the NFL, just because of what's happened. And the Browns making probably the dumbest decision they've made since they drafted Tim Couch. Basically, they traded the 2012 first-round draft pick, Trent Richardson. They traded him to the Indianapolis Colts, which is by far the dumbest decision they have made in a very long time. They made a lot of dumb decisions. They traded him to the Colts for a 2014 first-round draft pick, and it was dumb. It's a dumb thing. I mean, Trent Richardson is a great running back. Yes, he's had some injury issues at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, but overall, he could have been their best running back they've ever had, other than Jim Brown. Other than that, he could have been, their best running back, and was their best running back on the roster. This is a huge upgrade for the Indianapolis Colts, with now having Ahmad Bradshaw and a Trent Richardson. It's going to make them a deadly force running the ball wise, and it's really going to help out Andrew Luck. But the Browns just making a really bad decision. Basically, they're trying to start over like they were last year. In the past few years, they've been trying to start over, and it's just not been working for them. It's just a dumb decision that they traded him. I know now they'll have 2 first-round draft picks, 2 third-round draft picks, and I think a 4th or 5th 2 of those. I still think it's a dumb decision to trade him. I mean, he was still the guy you would build a roster around. But now, they're looking at quarterbacks for this year's draft. And, I mean, yes, it's great you could have 2 first-round draft picks. I mean, look at the Minnesota Vikings, who had 3. And did a solid job. But, the Browns, it was just a dumb decision, and it's really bad that they did that. And I know a lot of Browns fans are upset because of this, doing that. They're basically just throwing away the season. They can say they're not. They can say they're still going to try, but they're not. They're throwing away this season and hoping for the best. And if they draft Johnny Manziel in this upcoming draft, they will continue to fail again, and we'll get more into that when draft time comes around. But that's just where I stand, and just a really bad decision by the Browns once again. They did sign Willis McGahee, and it's not an upgrade. I mean, it's an upgrade to a roster now that they don't have Richardson, but it is not an upgrade saying that he was the same, if not better than Richardson. The Browns are just in a bad situation all over again. I had them finishing second in the AFC North. I really did. I had the Bengals winning it, the Browns in second place, and then having Ravens and the Steelers. But now this drops Browns to the last place, and even with Pittsburgh struggling, Browns are in a lot worse situation than the Steelers. So that's what happened in the NFL so far. Also, rumors came out about a few days ago about Nick Saban having his agent talk to Texas University, talking to them, trying to basically persuade getting Nick Saban to go, leaving Alabama and going to Texas. And they met in January after Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide won the national championship. And basically now, with news coming out, it's they're trying to go in a bidding war. Basically, the Texas Longhorns have somewhat offered, like I said, starting a bidding war they're offering $10 million to get Nick Saban to leave Alabama and come to Texas. Now, I hope that doesn't happen, and I don't think it will happen. The reason I say that is, even though, we think University of Texas, we think, oh, they're great and this and that, and national championships back in 2005, and they only have 4 total national championships in their football history. Alabama has, 13 now? Maybe more? I really don't know. So, Alabama's already won 3 in the past 4 years, and Texas has 4 in their entire history. So Alabama is obviously a much more prestigious football school than Texas is. You'll have people argue that, but you look over the history, and I'm not just talking about over the past 5 years. I'm talking about overall, and you're going to see Alabama's been a lot better than Texas has been. And And Nick Saban did come out and say he doesn't want to rebuild again, because basically that's what he's going to have to do at Texas if he did go there. Now, I understand if he did say, Alabama after this year, national championship or not, I'm going to Texas. And, I could see a whole lot of recruits that no matter what school, they said they wanted to go to, but I guarantee you if the option of them leaving one of those schools, I don't care who it is, and switching to Texas because they know Nick Saban is going over there, and if Texas has already offered them, best believe those recruits will switch to the University of Texas University. I can't believe I said that. But basically, we could just quit, with all these rumors. It's not going to happen. He's not going to want to rebuild. He's basically the next Bear Bryant for Alabama, and he's not going to want to rebuild and start all over again. And no matter what, it's not basically, I don't think to him anymore, it's about money, because if it was, he would have gone back to the NFL when teams have already offered him to leave Alabama and go to the NFL. So money is not the issue for him, that, if that's going to make or break the deal of him leaving or not. So I don't see him going to Texas. So we could just throw away those rumors. So, I was going to go straight into what to watch for in this week in college football, but really want to get to the NFL because of what's, we had a game last night with Kansas City Chiefs defeating the Philadelphia Eagles 26-16 last night, and things are really going the wrong way for Philadelphia, and things are looking good for Kansas City. But some breaking news did happen just about a few minutes ago, actually. 49ers linebacker / defensive end Aldon Smith was arrested this morning for a DUI. So, he's having some troubles now, and it seems like these young linebackers, him, Von Miller, just can't get it together. They're getting a lot of legal issues, and, so much potential, and, they're doing a lot of bad things right now, so that just came in. One thing I did want to address, last week, obviously I'm a Chargers fan. My Chargers went on the road to Philadelphia and beat them. The past 3-4 years, I don't know exactly, but I know it's been for sure 3 or 4 years, Philadelphia's home opener opponent, they have lost to. And that team went on to the Super Bowl, not only made it to the Super Bowl, but won. So I'm just saying, San Diego might carry that tradition. We might be going to the Super Bowl winning if that thing happens again. And I don't see that happening. But I'm just wanted to put that out there. I forgot about saying it last week. And, I'm excited to see if the Chargers could do it. I was hoping this year we would lose all the games so we can get Taj Boyd, quarterback out of Clemson. And it looks like we might actually be kind of solid this year. So, so I just wanted to get that out there. But again, last night's game was Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles' schedule is not getting any better for them, and right now they're at 1-2 record. So when they started off with week 1, they defeated Washington Redskins. Everybody's like, "Oh, the offense is back." They can actually do it. They can run the read option in the NFL, and Philadelphia is going to be a playoff team. That has quickly gone the opposite way now, dropping the past 2 games with bad defense, and bad penalties for this team, undisciplined team. Their next few games that they have, obviously, next week they're on the road at Denver. At Denver. Denver's been on a roll this entire season since week 1. So now you're looking at possibly going 1-3. Now fans are questioning what's really happening. Then they got basically these next 3 weeks are on the road. At Denver, at New York, which they could pull a victory there, so they could be at 2-3 at that point, or drop to 1-4, and that's going to be a really bad situation. But then they go at Tampa, and right now Tampa looks like they're in a pretty bad situation as well. So I see them going after the game against Tampa, 2-5, 2-5 right there, 2-4. I can't count for anything right now, but right now that's obviously not the record they've been wanting, and especially after starting week 1 on a really hot pace. Obviously their offense has shown some explosive plays like they did last night. Michael Vick having his longest career run on another read option play. So obviously the offense can get those quick plays, but it seems like they can never finish a drive, and that's really going to hurt them when they play tougher teams, especially against Denver. Now again, Denver won't have Von Miller, possibly won't have Champ Bailey, but so far that doesn't seem that's a problem for them, because defensively they've been doing a good job stopping both the run and the pass. So I don't see them winning that game. Giants is a toss-up, and I see them beating Tampa Bay, and then they got a home game against Dallas where they really have to win that game no matter what their record is at that point, because they're not going to win all 3 straight games. So Philadelphia's in a bad situation right now, while Kansas City 3-0. Now I had Kansas City finishing in 3rd place. I didn't really think I knew it was going to be an improvement from last year, but with Andy Reid coming in and with Alex Smith, I didn't think it was going to be that great. You know what I mean? So, but they're proving me wrong so far. Next games are home against the Giants, so they could win that one next week. We'll see how the Giants do this week. Then they're at Tennessee, which they could win that game as well, because Tennessee's not that strong this year. Then they have home against Oakland and home against Houston. So I could easily see the Kansas City Chiefs being 4, 5, 6, 6-0 when they play Houston at home. 6-0, Kansas City. I don't think they will win against Houston. Then they got Cleveland at Buffalo. So you're looking at possibly an 8-1 team when they enter their bye week. I don't think they're that good. I think they have a really easy schedule so far. They should have lost the game against the Dallas Cowboys last week, and they got a tough stretch afterwards. I'm looking at their schedule right now. After their bye week, they got at Denver, home against San Diego, home against Denver again, at Washington. Hopefully Washington by then has picked up where they really need to be. Then at Oakland, home against Indianapolis, and then finishing off at San Diego. So obviously, before the Kansas City Chiefs bye week, we could be looking at an 8-1 team right there, possibly even 9-0. Nobody could have predicted Kansas City starting off either 8-1 or 9-0 to start this season. I would have never guessed it in a million years, and they're doing pretty solid right now. They got things going their way defensively. Justin Houston had a great game last night, having 4.5 sacks. Just dominated the game. Eric Berry was a boss all over the field last night. So things are looking really good for Kansas City tonight, or this season. So basically, let's go ahead and get into what to watch for this week in the NFL. First game that I see is the Colts at the 49ers. Obviously, with Trent Richardson traded to the Colts, and they say that they're going to give him as much as he can handle. So whether he picks up the offense like that, or he's still kind of learning the plays, I don't know how he can just pick it up unless it's the same game plan that they have at Cleveland, because I just don't see them picking up all the plays so quickly. But could shock me. And so I really don't see the Colts being in this game too much, maybe in the first half. But after the 49ers got basically embarrassed on Sunday night playing against the Seattle Seahawks, which, if you did not see my Facebook post, I did yell out my window to say I was part of that world record that the Seahawks pulled, being the loudest crowd. So even though I was about 10 minutes away, I still say I'm a part of it. So that's that. But I really see the 49ers just basically blowing out this game, especially towards the end, with a 42-28 victory over the Indianapolis Colts. Then the second game is the Bears at the Steelers, and the reason I picked that as the second game is because I want to see where the Bears are at. Past 2 weeks for the Bears, they just came back. That's all. They should have lost both of those games. They should easily be 0-2. But they came back and showed some clutch. So I'm not going to take anything away from them. But, you're looking at a team that easily could be 0-2 instead of 2-0. So, that's one thing. Steelers are struggling. Steelers are in a bad situation. They're going to need help quickly and find something. I feel bad for Mike Tomlin. I really like him as a head coach. But Ben Roethlisberger is struggling this year. And not saying they're going to have to replace him in the mid-season, but just basically because they don't have anybody. But they're going to have to move on from Roethlisberger for sure at the end for next season, because he's just lost it. I'm not saying it's his last year in the NFL. I mean, it could be. Was it his 10th, 11th year? I think it's his 10th year. So, just doesn't seem like he's got it anymore. So, now obviously the Steelers are trying to avoid an 0-3 record, which they haven't been in a very, very long time. So, we'll just have to see. But I do see the Bears pulling it out 24-17 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Third game, the Packers at the Bengals, which I really want to see. That game is going to be really, really good. Aaron Rodgers is great so far. I mean, him and Peyton Manning, like I said last week, are front runners for the MVP. I know it's only week 3, but the way they're playing is just phenomenal. And Bengals looking pretty good. They got a solid victory over the Steelers last Monday night, and so we'll just have to see how they do. And, I see them getting the victory 35-28, but they're going to have to stop Aaron Rodgers. And I could see that score being completely different, flipped around if the Bengals cannot stop Aaron Rodgers and those receivers. James Jones had a breakout week, and of course, I put him on the bench on my fantasy team because I'm thinking, all right, he's not going to have a good game. What does he do? He only gets, over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. So fantasy football is not going my way this season so far. Fourth game, what to watch for? The Falcons at the Miami Dolphins. And Dolphins have been one of those teams that have not been talked about too much. They are 2-0. 2-0 right now. At home against the Falcons, which obviously we know the Falcons are a pretty solid team at 1-1. But I don't know. I see the Falcons probably exploiting the Dolphins' defense, which has done pretty good so far this season. But I do see the Falcons getting the victory, 24-13, a very low-scoring game. Just because maybe the Falcons don't think the Dolphins are that good of a team, so they might underestimate them. But figure out pretty good towards the end and get the win. The last game, and this game is going to be. It was hard for me to pick who would win just because of the two teams that are playing. It's the Lions at the Redskins. RG3, we've been talking about it the past few weeks. If he doesn't step up, Kirk Cousins should take his place. I think Kirk Cousins is a solid quarterback and can be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I guarantee if he was with Jacksonville the offense might look a little bit differently. I can't get any worse, so, it can only improve. But Kirk Cousins is a solid quarterback. And, RG3 needs... I'm not saying he should already get replaced, but what I'm saying is if RG3 can't perform a lot better than he has this week, last week, then he should should be benched. And, the second half of the games this past 2 weeks for the Redskins, RG3 has been picking it up, and, his stats look pretty solid. If you just don't watch the game and you see his stats, you think, hey, he did pretty good. The team couldn't get the victory. You watch the first half of the games, and you see they are lost. And Lions trying to avoid 0-3. Lions, it's so weird. They have so much talent, but they can't finish any games. They just get outplayed towards the end. And so basically my score prediction was Lions 35, Redskins 35. Now, when I say that, it's not going to be a tie. It wouldn't surprise me if it would, but I don't think it will be a tie. It's just I can't decide who will win this game because it seems like both teams are really lost. And I don't know. It's really difficult to see both of these teams starting off 0-3. One of them will. That's for sure. It's just, it's just difficult for me to see Redskins with RG3 starting off 0-3, or the Lions having Matthew Stafford starting 0-3. So we'll have to see that. But I think it'll be a real interesting game. That's for sure. So basically, like I said, skipped college football, but we're going right back to it. What to watch for college football week? Obviously, it's always been crazy, but this week seems like it's not going to be too exciting this week. A lot of teams kind of on a bye week, and also some teams, just kind of playing those weaker teams again still, since we're still early in the season. But first game to watch is Auburn at number 6 LSU. Auburn's, done okay. They've done pretty good. Obviously improving from last year. And, hold up. Aaron Foster admits he accepted money during his senior year at Tennessee. That just came up. Breaking news right there. On the Short Sports Show. First breaking news. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of myself. Wow. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that was real. The team stream just pulled it out right now. Wow, so Tennessee might be in some trouble, along with Oklahoma State. But like I was saying, Auburn is done pretty good, 2-0. LSU has just been on a roll, sadly defeating my TCU Horned Frogs week 1 at Cowboy Stadium. And Auburn started off 2-0, but don't see them getting the victory. I see LSU winning 38-21. Next game is 23 Arizona State, who should not be ranked. Again, with referees doing the worst officiating last week that there's ever been in college football with that game, and also obviously with my TCU game. Very disappointed. Anyways, Arizona State at number 4. I didn't write it down. Number 4, Stanford. Number 5, Stanford. Different. Stanford is just going to show how dominant they are. And I think this is their game, especially with Arizona State being ranked. They're going to want to try to move up a little bit in the rankings and probably taking that number 3 and number 4 spot, because I do see Clemson dropping a spot, because before halftime it was 6-7 at North Carolina State for Clemson. So Clemson might drop maybe one spot, and so this is a big week for Stanford and for LSU to try to jump a little bit. So I do see Stanford winning 42-17. Number 3 game is Michigan at UConn. Could be an upset. I mean, Michigan almost lost to Akron last week. Akron, what a disappointing performance. I mean, you're at your own goal line, and you can't punch it in to get the victory and have the biggest upset of the year. I mean, why go for a play action when all you had to do was punch it in and get the victory? So, really disappointed in that. But and Devin Gardner had 3 picks in that game. So, after I said I was solid on, it seems like when I'm against Devin Gardner, he does great. He did that against Notre Dame and the game before that. But it seems when I finally got with him, and I said, you know what? Yeah, he is a solid quarterback. Maybe in a Heisman talk. He has a bad game against Akron, which they should have blown him away. So, I could see an upset happening, especially going on the road to UConn. I see Michigan winning 28-20 against UConn. I could see UConn winning, but I'm just saying, Michigan might pull this victory out, but, who knows. So, next game is Tennessee, which we just found out they might be in some trouble now. But Tennessee at number 19, Florida. Florida, I've been against them this entire year. I've been against them last year. And you can hear all my other rants about Florida in the past episodes on YouTube, The Short Sports Show. But Florida is... I think they're okay where they're at right now ranked-wise. They should probably be a little bit lower. But, how the SEC biased ESPN and AP polls are. Florida... I'm gonna go with the upset. I wrote down that they would beat Tennessee, but I'm gonna go with the upset. I changed my mind. Tennessee 17, Florida 13. That's my pick. But who knows now with Tennessee being their players might be a little concerned about what may go on now with this news coming out a day before the game. So that'd be pretty interesting. And my last game on what to watch is Texas State Bobcats. San Marcos, Texas. They're on the road against a team who, again, should not be ranked, but they are, against the Texas Tech Red Ugly Raiders. I think it's going to be a real high-scoring game. Hopefully Texas State watch film on the TCU defense on how they win against Tech and how they shut them down to 10 points and how the referees gave them another 10 points. But again, that was my rant from last week, so I won't get too much in it. But if Texas State can try to do the same things that TCU did, obviously they don't have the same players, but if they can do the same thing and the same kind of scheme that TCU did, the TCU played against Tech, Texas State might be able to try to do something. Now, realistically, will Texas State win? Sadly not. I want to see Texas State in my home school. I hope they win. I hope they pull off the upset. But it's so hard because I really want them to win. But I don't see that. I see Texas Tech winning 56-51. But I just want to say this on my show so that way if it does happen, I hope Texas State wins and I hope Texas State can just dominate them. If it was 56-0 with Texas State winning, I'd be one happy guy. But will it happen? No. But hopefully Texas State can just take some consideration on, you might have got outbid by Texas Tech with paying the referees. So you just got to watch out for that. But basically that was it for today. I wanted to talk about the Nick Saban thing, the Browns, what they're doing. With my Chargers, hopefully going to the Super Bowl, and what to watch for this week. But next week is going to be a little bit differently, as you hear my paper crumble. Next week, I got a whole lot of hours to work. So next week we'll only have one show, and that will be on Thursday. The time, it's been a little bit differently. Hopefully, I plan on doing it about 12 o'clock Pacific time. But it'll only be one show next week, and that week I might try to go for an hour. I don't really know for sure, because I want to recap what happened this week, what's happening with college football and the NFL, but also what's going on during that time, because we could have different news coming on, obviously, maybe trades, whatnot, and also what to look for. So we'll just have to see. But make sure you follow me on Twitter, @short_sports 24-7. Also on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. And if you miss any episodes, if you just tuned in right now and you missed this episode, go on YouTube, type in The Short Sports Show, listen there, and make sure you like, subscribe, all that other good stuff. Really helps out my channel. And that's basically it. So again, next Thursday did I say Thursday weird? I feel like I did. Next Thursday, hopefully at 12 o'clock Pacific time, and go from there. So hopefully Texas State pull out the victory, and that's basically it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show. Again, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that other good stuff, and I'll see you guys then. Laters.